Bitcoin, altcoins, crypto. Next moves are signaled right now. We got some major listing announcements, which I'm going to cover here in just a moment. We got to get this retweeted out to all the friends and family. Everybody needs to make sure you're getting active on this because we got some deep alpha we're going to be dropping here in a matter of about 25 seconds. So if you are tuned in, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, ding the bell. I want you to spam the live chat right now as well. What 3 coins you are most excited about? I know a lot of my pack out there is going to be barking there in the live chat because we got some major news for the dog community for a major listing that it was just confirmed is tomorrow. But we got a lot of things that we're covering. So let me get this retweeted out over here. Now let's get into it because we got some alpha to share. So let's absolutely rip this. Let's go. So many of you have been waiting. You've been in the markets. You've been seeing, my God, it's just seeing the red. You're not feeling the green. But Bitcoin has been performing absolutely wonderfully over the last year and a half. I mean, actually, look at it back from 2009. It is over $107,000 right now, just under 107,000, all the way back from, I mean, I remember when I got into crypto, it was about $140. I mean, the gains that we've seen in this market are nothing short of absolutely extraordinary. And in the altcoin market, this feels like it's been a never-ending absolute machine wash of freaking god dang lumberjack axes and chainsaws because we haven't had that absolute pumpage to the upside. But we got to focus on what we're seeing in the absolutely monumental growth of the fundamental support of this market over the last, especially since January 11th of 2024, when the ETFs went live. When we look at the charts right here, this is what everybody's waiting on, is this mega pump gateway breaking through with volume, with authority, with strength, with positive money flow, because we have every tailwind that we need to push higher. And if you are bearish here, then you are freaking blind and you are paying attention to the wrong data. Now, does that mean we can't get a little bit of a pullback? I hope, pray, and bless the markets that we do so we have another chance to stack, but the pressures for this market are to the upside. We're looking at this zone right here, and we're pushing right into the top of this resistance area that is descending resistance coming right here about this $109,000 level. Will we get it on this move? We're going to break that down here in just a couple minutes, or are we going to get a little bit of a pullback and bounce here in the 105, maybe even a little lower down to the 103? The dominant trend here is up and to the right, and we are looking for this mega move that is likely going to, it's already underway, but when is it going to play out? And then beyond that, what's going on with the altcoin market? I know many of you out there hold different pets and animals. Let me know in the chat right now what your favorite pet is. I know my favorite pet and a lot of y'all's favorite pet out there are dogs. And we've got major news for the dog community, which has been signaled, it's been telegraphed, it's been this hype cycle. Is it going to happen? Well, we just got word today that it is confirmed. We have dog getting listed on Kraken. This is monumental. Not because it's another token getting listed. It's because this project specifically, which is why I speak about it, has no paid KOLs. This isn't a paid promo. This has no organization behind it with secret little, allocations for the team to just dump and rug. This is not a Solana trash meme coin, pump and dump bullshit. No, this is about community. This is on the tenants that you see within the Bitcoin ecosystem. And this coin went up to just under $1 billion market cap with no tier one or top exchange listings. All these tier one exchanges, the coins that you're seeing, all these trash meme coins that are getting listed, it's because there's big promotional money behind it to push fake marketing to get you involved in those pump and dumps. But dog, the difference here is it's just a strong, incredibly strong community of people within this asset, this dog culture coin on Bitcoin. Yes, this is on Bitcoin, and it's such a strong community that the tier one exchange starting this ball rolling forward. And my question is what is the next tier one exchanges that may list this? Binance, OKX, Coinbase, Gemini. This is important because this is a seismic shift in what we're seeing across the crypto ecosystem where you have to pay to play. You have to pay to get listed. People wonder why this trash coin this and trash coin that launch, and within 24 hours or even a week or even a month they're getting listed on these exchanges. It's not because they're great projects, it's because there's big money behind them pushing marketing so they can get the price to pump so they can exit on you. The difference here is Dog is a community coin with no money for promotions, no money for marketing, no private allocations. This is incredible. And when you look at this also, it's got, look at this, 100 billion Dog, which have all been dispersed. There's no emissions, there's no inflation. It's all out, sent out evenly, free and fair out to all those runestone holders. So there's not these private allocations. There's no hidden, any of this nonsense. It's the community culture of Bitcoin, the playful side of Bitcoin that also has some of the best tokenomics in the game. And if we want to look at this, and we're going to get into a lot of other TA here in just a few minutes, but looking at the chart here, let's look what we're seeing. Oh, it's the end of the world. The dog, all dogs go to heaven. That's right. Although this was scary, it provided incredible opportunity as the rest of the market was pulling back. What did we see? It did pull back as well. It's like it's part of that crypto ecosystem. This is not a death sentence. In fact, this right here, we have come into the revival. That's right. We got coming to the revival and all dogs go to heaven. And so we're seeing this beautiful bottom structure that has already pushed up 463% from the bottom. And now, oh my God, it's breaking down again. It's over. Understand chart dynamics, understand the context of this market, and also realize the patterns that you can see here in this descending, broadening wedge. They came down and retested right in this chop zone, which not only here, but we also see back here in February where there's a lot of price interaction here, a lot of price interaction here. The price came down, a lot of price interaction here, boom, bounces, and now it's coming into its own gateway for this dog to go to heaven. And this is on the heels of this large sort of, community promotional push from a self-organized of people that are not getting paid. It's just, this is a great project and it's a playful side. Now, I do not recommend putting 100% of your portfolio in any coin unless it's Bitcoin. But I know that the majority of people that are in the crypto ecosystem, they don't just have Bitcoin. In fact, most people have the majority of alts. And if you're going to have alts, make sure you're picking smart plays. One of the niches that has obviously shown a tremendous amount of value within the crypto ecosystem in the terms of how much volume and liquidity and mind share and engagement we've seen in the last year and a half is meme coins. So you cannot ignore that sector. So if you're going to have a meme, why not have the best one out there on the best chain out there, which is Bitcoin? And in this case, this is looking like, even if we get a little bit of a drawdown here, it wouldn't hurt my feelings, because if that were to take place, what would we have? We'd have a little bit of a massive slingshot inverse head and shoulders. And if that's the case, then the next target out of this would be somewhere up here. Look at this. Right up to the next target that we've had drawn on here for quite some time. And this is not a small move. This is, even on this entry here, even if it drew back, this would still be another 50% move. And that's just up to this target. The next target up, and this is why we have this drawn out. The next target from there will be up here at the 1 cent mark, and then onward and upward and onward and upward and onward and upward, especially as I see July coming into being a very likely, very bullish month for this market, for this ecosystem, especially with what we have with the trade deals, what we have going on with potentially a continuation of the ceasefire with Iran and Israel. Hopefully that stays the course. But then we also have the FOMC meeting, which is starting to be signaled like it's more and more likely to get a rate cut. And we can see this on the CME futures right here, now up to 25%. but I'm feeling the tickle in my bones, like we're about to get a massive slingshot in the market. So for those of you that are paying attention to these smaller projects that have great utility or have great community or have great tokenomics, like Dog, which is also now starting that train of getting listed on Kraken, and also a lot of teasers that are going out from other exchanges as well. I think you got to pay attention where attention's due, and I'm super excited for the dog community. So for all of you out there that are dog holders, drop a $dog in the live chat right now. Let me know that you are participating, and go ahead, clip this whole section, send it out, tag the dog community. Let's get this out there because I could not be more excited about this. Do remember, now we're looking at Dog, okay? I want you to just notice something. This is why, even if you think meme coins are stupid, if you're only in Bitcoin, or if you're only in Ethereum, let's knock out all of that tribal nonsense. There's money to be made in this market. One of the things that we can do to identify what might be possible, it's not going to be exact, is look at what has happened in past cycles. Now look at Dogecoin. I am not saying Dog is going to eclipse Doge. What I'm saying is just look at the mind share, look at the engagement, and look at the market cap of what Doge did in its life cycle. I mean, this pushed up, look at this, up here into the 9 billion. Okay, oh, look at that, all the way up here into 70, 80 billion. If we pull this over like this, you see, look at this. This went all the way up almost over about $70 billion. This is all the while. This is obviously on Ethereum. But when we look at Dog, this is sitting here with the market cap currently of, look at this, fully diluted 400 million. And this is right about where we're at because it is all the coins out. So you're not worrying about emissions like on Dogecoin, which has an immense amount of new inflation. So I can see this being in the 1 billion. Yeah. Chump change. I can see this being in the 5 and the 10, all the way up into the 30 billion and beyond. It's all going to depend on how this market momentum carries forward broadly. I'm not speaking just on Dog. The market momentum carrying forward, I think, is going to be a tremendous impact on when we see these different assets in the ecosystem see those explosive moves to the upside. So shout out to everybody that is in here. Shout out to the Dog crew. Shout out to everybody that tunes in on a daily basis. But we got some other things to look at. I'm just saying, keep your eyes on Dog because it is about to get listed on Kraken. You can also, it's not just there. Look, come here to markets. You can get it on BitGet. You can get it on Mexi. You can get it on Gate. You can get it on BingX. You can get it on Bitmark. The difference, and LBank as well. The difference between these is these are not tier one, meaning how many tens of millions of people use these tier one exchanges, and the billions in dollars in trading volume and liquidity that's available. So massive marketing that this puts in front of people. When you see people like Mark Yusko, who's a hedge fund manager, or crypto capital venture, Dan Gambardello, who is pretty much a blue chip guy, only assets that really matter. He's all on the Dog train. We got Matthew Hyland, among a number of other people. Even some major players that I know personally that I cannot share with you because they don't want it to get out that they're holding Dog, but they are. I'm talking some major players that you would never expect. So just have it on your radar because there's some big things coming there. But then we got some other things as well. Before we get into that, I just wanted to say, how you doing? How you feeling? Are you grateful this morning? If you're not, your lens is broken. You should always be grateful for something when you start your day. And if you're just focused on what you don't have, what you didn't get, what you want that's just too far away, your vision's broken. You will never get it. That's a fact. But the truth is you can fix your vision and re-access all the things that are possible in life. We get so lost in the price of an asset. We get so lost in the things that are bothering us versus this is working. Let's expand on this. This is hurting, so why not do something different? This is not serving me, so why continue to indulge? Let's find gratitude. Let's find grace. Let's find forgiveness for ourselves. Let's find forgiveness for that person that did that. Who cares about that? You always have 3 fingers pointing back at yourself. You can only control your own destiny when you actually look at what you are responsible for and stop being so focused on why it's somebody else's fault. It's nobody else's fault. Let's harness in, let's strap in, let's make this the rest of this year and the rest of our lives. Let's make this world serve us by serving ourselves so we can serve others, man. Let's find gratitude. Let's do it. Let's get it right. Now, shout out to everybody that's in here. We're starting with a little bit of motivation here. Take accountability for yourself. Take accountability, and then you will have so much more things that you have access to and options to dive into. So we got 1,500 people tuned in. Make sure, show some love, show some gratitude to the channel. If you're tuned in, you're engaged. Hit that like button down below. Make sure you're subscribed. Drop something, drop anything in this live chat. Let me know that you're live, whether you're watching on X, whether you're watching on Rumble, whether you're watching on YouTube. I love you. I appreciate you. I appreciate you being here in the BitLab family. And again, if this is your first time, it's not going to be your last time. My name's Kelly Kellum. Shout out to our channel partners, bitcoinira.com. I got a video coming out on that this week, as well as Arculus, best crypto cold storage solution, especially seeing what we just saw with all these ledger updates and these accesses. No, screw that. Head over to getarculus.com. Get the best crypto cold storage solution out there. Protect your crypto so you protect your future. Getarculus.com. Use code BitLab, BITLAB 20, BitLab20 for 20% off. Now let's get in here. We got some things to cover. We got some things to talk about. I'm feeling spicy today, baby. I'm a spicy meatball. So let's get into it, okay? This is what we're seeing, guys. Right here, the magic sauce, the key signal, the secret signal. Somehow nobody's paying attention to. We get so enamored on a 4-minute chart with horizontal lines and charts and the Fibonacci and the volume and the M2 and the Chaikin money flow. Okay, what is the fuel for every very positive or very negative move? I'm on a macro sense in not only Bitcoin, not only Ethereum, but also the S&P 500. Also what we're seeing in the traditional stock market, asset prices, risk on, risk off. It is given to you by what you're seeing on the global M2, the global amount of money that's being pushed into the system or being pulled out of the system. And what we see is an incredible correlation between global M2, the liquidity in the market, going up or coming down. And what we're seeing, if we look at this, actually, let's come back over here. If we look at this right here, we see that the global M2 has been pushing up, and the Bitcoin price has been tracking this very closely, not on a one-to-one basis, but pretty darn close in terms of directionality. We see this, we see the M2, the white line here, pull back a bit, but then we also saw, look, Bitcoin also pulled back a bit with it. And this is signaling more liquidity is going to waterfall down into these risk assets. And the story is only getting stronger by the day for more liquidity to be pumped into the system. China is down $18 trillion. $18 trillion since 2021 in their economy. And they've been printing like mad, and they need to print almost double, 2 to 3 times what they printed to stave off issue. And this is on the heels also just having one of the worst floods they've ever seen, further compounding issues. And we have everything going on with the Genius Coin Act, or the Genius Act, that just got passed by the Senate, needs to go through a House and then get voted in. But then also what we're seeing with the issues, like money printing is an absolute certainty. So when we see this as a signal for going to the upside, the magnet up, we need to understand that and not get so enamored with our hope and fear here. Just look at the data, because this is a persistent thing. Breaking, what's breaking? The US dollar. The US dollar has now lost more than 10% of its value this year, not over the last 10 years, 20 years, 100, no. In the last year, within the last year, the US dollar has lost 10% of its purchasing power. It's the worst first half of the year in 40 years. And this is only going to get worse. That's why we're looking so heavily into this crypto ecosystem. And I said this right here, define consistency. Looking at the decline of the US dollar over time, because as you see all the way from 1913 to where we're at now, especially considering going off the gold standard in 1971 and going off, I mean, just the money printing that we've seen and the broken credit system, and the consistency has been the dollar loses value over time. What can we define as an imperative? What is an imperative? Holding Bitcoin to protect your future. Sell your dollars, put them into, get into Bitcoin, because this is going to be the persistent story for the rest of your life. It's a proven 100% fact based on the data we have on the dollar. It's going to go down over time. That's just it. There's nothing else to say about that except for that's true. So then this imperative must be true. Holding Bitcoin to protect your future is an imperative. Let me say this again. So based on this, let me go back. So based on this chart, the dollar losing 10% of its value within the last 6 months makes the imperative be holding Bitcoin to protect your future. This has become an imperative for those that understand this, because the consistent permanent trend of the US dollar is that it's going to decline over time, and it's going to continue to do so, and likely will continue to do so at a faster pace. So this means you have less and less time to take advantage of this opportunity once you realize that stacking Bitcoin is an imperative because of the dollar's issue of consistent dropping in buying power. Now, what else we got? We got some other signal. The Fed Chair Jerome Powell says if the U.S. has more trade deals, this is great. It will allow the Fed to cut interest rates. But what does this mean? Well, July 9th is also the deadline for the trade deals. All these trade deals that have the tariffs and all this questionability and uncertainty that's come into markets. A big part of that was because people weren't sure how the tariffs were going to impact the economy and commerce and trade and all this. So people de-risked. We saw a massive sell-off in the market. We've talked about this before, but let's pull it up. We saw a massive sell-off in the market. Boom, right here. And as I was discussing this, I was sharing this with you on a daily basis. I said, watch this be a slingshot to the upside. And this became people became used to this idea, and also started seeing the chess moves that Trump was doing. And we got this V-shaped recovery. So the market's already essentially recovered. We're also seeing a lack of real inflation from these tariffs. And so the fact that we're seeing Jerome Powell also softening his language around tariffs, softening his language around, we have to wait and see. He's getting so much pressure from every end. And we have the tariff trade deals starting to come to a close here in a matter of about a week and a half, 2 weeks. I feel like we're starting to see a soft setup for rate cuts in the July FOMC. Bitcoin and risk markets are loaded into an atomic collider, particle accelerator of upside pressure. So stack now before this market explodes, not after, because we're seeing it across other data. As I highlighted here, we're at just under 25% now possibility of a rate cut in basically later this month, at the end of this month. This, especially with the discourse and the different talking points that we hear going into this, we'll likely start seeing an acceleration of the upside. If we get a sell-off, listen, it doesn't have to go up with all this bullishness. In fact, there's so much bullishness, it actually makes it a prime opportunity for the market to just whipsaw the living crap out of people that are overly bullish and overly leveraged long. So as much as there's a fundamental, I'm talking tsunami of bullish pressure behind Bitcoin and the crypto ecosystem, it doesn't mean it has to respond to that now and just rocket to the upside. There is a possibility that we do get some sort of shakeout before that happens, but the pressures on the midterm and macro on Bitcoin specifically is to the upside and at an extraordinary amount of pressure. And when this bearish dam, this bearish levee breaks that is overhead on Bitcoin right now, this Megapump gateway that we've been discussing, which is right here at this $110,000 to $112,000. Once this breaks and we clear out that liquidity that's already sitting up there, and we get that momentum back to the upside, and the uncertainty fears start to clear out, this is going to be a rocket ship that is going to change the entire possibilities of what you have in the future if you're stacked, if you have a strategy, if you don't get shaken out along the way. So we're seeing things line up in a way that we cannot even comprehend. And then it's not just the US. Hong Kong launches Policy 2.0 with Leap to boost tokenization and stablecoin adoption. We're seeing it the world over, everybody. This is so darn exciting. And then we get to the data. Now we get to the charts. Now we can talk about the next levels for Bitcoin, for Ethereum, for Ondo, for Chainlink, and some of the other coins that we have out there. By the way, if you did tune in late, go back to the beginning of this as this wraps out, because I did a great section at the beginning about the dog listing on Kraken and a bunch of charts on that as well. So shout out to everybody that has been tracking this. This is confirmed tomorrow. Dog of Bitcoin will be available on Kraken tomorrow. Markets are currently in post-only mode, but this is great, and it's we're seeing the dog army really rallying into this. So this is, and the access here is going to be incredible. But then we look at the data. Okay. During each of the three major rallies, long-term holders consistently built up their positions before strong growth. So what happens here is, as people are getting scared, this is the number one mistake people make when they enter the market. You think you're smarter, but you're informing yourself with hope and fear. That doesn't do a living flip to your ability to make money. That only damages your ability to be profitable in this market. When you look at the smart money, the whales buying the fear selling of short-term holders and new retail, this is what we're seeing right here. This big spike, long and short-term holder supply ratio, we're seeing the long-term holders buy. Who are they buying from? Okay, there's already an overabundance of the amount of purchasing that happens each day that far exponentially eclipses how much new Bitcoin is produced. So that's note number one. Number two, the reason why I discuss that is because if it's not new Bitcoin that are being purchased, then who are these Bitcoin being purchased from? Somebody has to sell in order for you to buy. So look at this. This is, look at this. This is long-term holders selling. Who's buying? Short-term holders. They get a bad deal because they don't understand market dynamics. They're not watching BitLab Academy. In fact, if you just found your way here, make sure you subscribe, hit the like button. We're going to keep you on the right side of the trend with data, not with hope and fear. Because then what do we see back here? Back in 2023 into 2024, every time we had this sell-off where short-term holders are scared, look at this. Long-term holders are buying their fear. Okay, look at this again. Long-term holders buying their fear. And then we got a rocket ship to the upside, all the way down here in the mid-20s, all the way up here to about $78,000, $74,000. Okay, it's selling off. It's over. Short-term holders crying, whining. They don't understand. Long-term holders saying, what do you mean it's over? We're about to send this muff higher. What do you see? Pop here from $40,000 to $109,000. And then what do we got again? Okay, bit of a drop here. And look at this. This drop here starts in now where the retail scared, long-term holders saying, what are you talking about? This is a great opportunity zone. Boom, pops higher. Now we're at, look at this. Far outweighs the amount of buying pressure we saw back here before this major move. And we're just under about the same level we saw that we went from $40,000 to $109,000. Look at this ratio right here. Long-term holders saying higher, faster, stronger, longer, retail, get the F out of my way. But the thing about this market is you don't have to be retail. You can be technically classified as retail because you're a small money player. That's fine. You don't have to act like a dumbass. You have the data. You have BitLab Academy. You have Discover Crypto. You've got Blockchain Basement. We have the on-chain data. We have the chart analysis. We have the different ingredients that we're looking at rather than the price that so many people are enamored by. And this is telling me, I don't care if we get a pullback here because long-term holders, based on this data, are signaling that we're about to move higher. That's what I'm looking at. What are you looking at? Are you sitting there staring at this like, oh my God, the price is going up. Oh my God, let me go to the 1 minute chart. Oh my God, guys. Oh my God, oh my God, it's over. Oh my God, no, stop that freaking nonsense unless you're sitting there on a Saturday afternoon or a Sunday morning and you're laying in bed and watching TV and you got $20 in a leverage exchange that then get on a 1 minute chart. Play the casino. I do that shit all the time. but do not do it with your portfolio, and do not do it with a major portion of your allocations of any coins. Now, you want to trade smart. Now, that doesn't mean don't trade. Get in here on the 4-hour chart. Look at the daily. Look at the 4-hour. Get down to the 1 hour. So you get the context, you get the local landscape, and then you get the trigger that you're going to be making your move. So when we're looking at this and we realize the long-term holders are setting up for higher prices, but we're not getting the full signal yet, and there's still uncertainty or lack of cohesion between different players. This is still a great recipe. It means you are early, and you might have to endure. If you're taking a long, that's not leverage, that's spot. If you're taking a long, then you might have to endure a little bit of downside, but that means you can then lower your average entry. If you're taking a long on leverage, it's also great. We teach you how to do it in the Discover Investments Group Discord. The link is pinned in the top of the live chat there if you're watching on Rumble or on YouTube. If you're watching on X, head over here. Make sure you come over here. Come down right here. You see on the BitLab Academy page. It's at BitLab Academy. You can search for that on YouTube, but come right down here. You also have the link is right pinned up here at the top, but it's also right here. Join Discover Investments Group Discord. We joined all three of our Discords, from BitLab to Discover Crypto to Blockchain Basement. We're on a super one now. And on that note, just note, if you are in the BitLab Academy and you're like wondering why there's no activity in there anymore, we basically moved it all over into this joint mega group with Drew from Blockchain Basement, myself, Joshua Jake, DZ, TJ. We are all in there, as well as Veteran Crypto here, DeFi Crypto Airdrops. We are all in there. And if you're a paying member of BitLab, BitLab Academy, and you're over in that Discord, just drop an email to office@hitnetwork.com and let them know what your Discord username is and what the email. I would prefer if you sent the email from the email that you utilize to pay for the other one. And then you don't have to do anything. All you have to do is let us know, and we'll get you automatically plugged in, and you don't have to sign up and all that kind of stuff again. But if you're not signed up, get involved here. If you email me, I'll give you, for those of you that are not currently paying members, email me right now, which is help@bitlabacademy.com, and I will send you a 50% off discount code if you want to be, if you're a new member and you want to get in there. We're only going to allow 20 of the people to use that code. But email me and I'll give you that code. It's help@bitlabacademy.com. But we got some more data to look at, because it's not just the fractured lack of consistency. These are different wallet sizes. And are they buying or selling? And you see, this was also fractured right here. Different wallets were doing different stuff. And you had the slow melt to the upside, but then a huge, all of these flip, boom, right here to bullish. And what we saw the price action move up. So we're kind of in the same sort of trajectory as we saw right here, leading before that run up. Now, things can change, but that's what we're seeing currently. But then we also see this. Meanwhile, the inflow outflow ratio remains at a high level, comparable to the end of 2023 or the beginning of the bull market. So what we're seeing right now with this dropping, boom, like this has all the way down into here, where this has dropped all the way down to here, this marked the start of this major run. I'm kind of the opinion that we're kind of started a new run on Bitcoin, a whole new cycle. And that is this chart right here that I've shared with you. This was the bear market. This was the start, the regularly scheduled on the 4-year cycle, start of the bull run. This was, the start of Bitcoin financialization. This is where ETFs got approved. Oh my God, it crashed, but then rocket ship to the upside. But then this is where the world changed. This is where the world of crypto changed, which was on November 5th of last year, where we got a crypto-friendly administration elected. And then the inauguration date was, look at this, right at the Pico top, just like the run-up we saw on the ETFs, boom. And then the day they went live, sell off. So what we see here, elected, so the speculative run-up, what's the Trump administration, crypto-friendly administration can do for crypto? Oh, it's exciting. And then the day he gets inaugurated, boom, we get a sell-off. But we know this is bullish because this only came down and resulted in testing a previous range high. And now we're, pushing back up, and we're in this world racing to stack Bitcoin with, we can't even highlight all the stories on a daily basis here on BitLab Academy, on Discover Crypto, on Blockchain Basement, because there's too many to highlight for the different corporations, institutions, governments, and positive regulation. It is just overwhelming how bullish the backdrop has become for crypto. Bitcoin at $100,000 to $110,000 is going to be a dream in 10 years. You're gonna be like, dude, it's gonna be like now talking to somebody that bought Bitcoin at $10. That's what it's going to be like in 10 years from now, because the world is racing to stack. And there's going to be some altcoins that benefit from this as well, but not all of them. And I talked a little bit about that yesterday also on my Twitter. But what we're seeing here is this reset that has preceded major moves to the upside. But then check it out. Caution. Bitcoin is due a massive correction. But note, investors note, assets can be repriced or correct up or down. The US government and regulatory body has kicked in the door to the world stage. Bitcoin is the new resident on the world stage. Act and invest accordingly before repricing happens. What I mean by this is, although we talk about corrections being to the downside, price is not, in my opinion, where it should be right now. I think this is undervalued. The correction we're about to see is just like this, just massive, just green arrow up and to the right. Now, there's going to be a lot of this chop along the way, so hold on to your butts. But I do think, in a very real way, we're about to see a massive correction, a melt up. The correction is going to be to the upside as the world is gaining awareness about how valuable and how scarce this asset is. So the correction here is going to be to the upside. As we see here, Bob Ross painting this massive green candle. It's almost done. It's almost ready to get lit and send to the moon, because it's not just Bitcoin. It's also the altcoin market. From a friend of mine here, Tech Dev, altcoin compression is at a record high. Expansion will be unlike anything the market has ever seen. Bollinger Bands showing when there's a lack of volatility. When you get a tight compression, everything in the market oscillates from compression to expansion. So we got a very tight compression. The next stage, boom, is expansion. And this was massive gains in the altcoin market. Okay. Now look at how tight this is, also building into an ascending triangle, rising level of support, meaning this angle, at a diagonal, and a flat level of resistance here as we're getting max compression. What does this mean? Altcoins correction up, coming soon to a DGEM portfolio near you. That's right. Max compression, as we see right here. We also see max global tension that has just made everything so uncertain in the market, which is why we saw this massive sell-off in the stock market that is now rebounded, is now testing beyond up to all-time highs. But then we also see max complacency in the altcoin market. Everybody thinks it's not going to happen because we have MicroStrategy and we have Metaplanet, we have Similar Scientific, and we have all these proxies and ETFs and so much going on. We are still going to see a pretty darn good, alt explosion. But the problem is, no alt season? Well, it's not entirely true, because not everything's going to move this time. I think everything will have its little days in the sun, but focused capital will melt up some select projects. And these are many of the ones that I cover on here. I don't even hold all of them because I have very focused capital and a very tight portfolio this cycle, rather than having 47 coins I'm trying to track. I don't do that nonsense. I'm literally on Bring a Trailer right now. I don't know what you're saying, but we're going to be throwing into a blockchain basement here in just a moment, but we got some things to look at. Right here, the dollar is as lowest as it's been, boom, in quite a few years here, all the way back 3-4 years. And this, as I've discussed on here regularly, This regularly is an indication that risk is coming into markets. And that is Bitcoin and stocks risk on or risk off simplified. And that is when the dollar breaks down, as look at this, just melting to the downside. This tends to be risk assets pump setup. This is what we're seeing right here. Risk assets pump setup. It doesn't mean immediate, but it means that we're starting to go into this, okay, let's get the money in the assets that we believe in, that we have some concern about, but that can pump. Now, we've got a lot to do in this market, guys. We got to be focused. We got to be smart. We got to make sure we're paying attention because the Bitcoin dominance is still pushing higher. Look at this, just putting everything on the struggle bus. Struggle bus. But I do think that at some point this is going to roll over. We may get some chop sideways, but we got to pay attention to this. Bitcoin, we've talked about the levels that we've seen here on this Megapump gateway, right up here to about 112, 113. But this right here, look at this massive wick back up and then testing in here. I think we're going to compress in here and then get the pump to the upside. Ethereum also, look at this. We had this marked out. We've talked about this. Let's go to the 4-hour chart. We had this marked out with a potential move down here. Came right into where we highlighted. And then we talked on the rebound. Watch all of this, the shelf of worry, all of these lows. Watch this potentially have some trouble here. It's exactly what's happening. But it's also producing a bit of an ascending bull flag, kind of. But I would be a little concerned with a little bit of a pullback here. I mean, watching for. But what we really want to see is whether we get a pullback here, then bounce, or if this pushes up, then a pullback, then bounce. But we're kind of starting the nature here. Ondo also had a pretty large move to the upside. Boom. This is pretty big. Boom. All the way up here. Look at that, 28%. Now it's lost the 382. So where's our next target? We're coming down here, looking at the 71 to 72 cent zone. Ondo's still doing some major developments in their partnerships, major developments in their integrations, and they have the right players in their corner. So this would be a great opportunity zone if this does roll over and come down. It's already rolled over, but comes down into the zone. If it's able to find some support here and just come back up inside this, that'd be great too. But the chart is signaling it's likely going to come down into here. Chainlink, still max compression, but also we got a bit of this inverted head and shoulder kind of attempt here, maybe a little bit deeper back, but this bounced beautifully on this multi-year trend line that goes back all the way to 2020. Let's go to 3-day chart. See this? Boom, 2020. And it's just bounced perfectly right on that. On the 3-day, this is signaling it really wants to reverse. And this descending broadening wedge does say it wants to go to the upside. Aerodrome. Golly, bullish as it can be with, I don't know what, let's go here to the 4-hour. There we go. So we had the rising wedge, broke down, came up, reconfirmed the breakdown into a falling broadening wedge, came up. It's just feeling a little bit choppy here. This is looking near term. This was very exciting, but this is looking near term like it may want to have a little bit of a scare to swing to the downside. Why? Because we have a shoulder, we have a head, and we have a shoulder, meaning the bulls tried and failed. The bulls got stronger and failed again. And now the bulls try one more time. They're not as strong. A shift of increased momentum to decreasing momentum, signaling that if we lose this level and break down, come up and confirm, we may be making a pretty large move back to the downside. But that's what the chart says. That's what the chart says. You also have to look at this in the context of all the integrations Coinbase just had, integrating the Aerodrome base DEX that's going to be integrated into the main Coinbase app for all of their users. That's a major development. So I still think the market's going to try and scare us to make swings to the downside, and be prepared for them. Have some limit orders or just a limit of your emotion orders within yourself. But I do think that this is going to have a resolution into July to the upside. And we're seeing Bitcoin. Yes, it's at the top side of this range, but we have this intersection of this horizontal level of resistance, support, resistance, and it also intersects right in here. So this kind of tells me that this would be a good spot to look for as a good buy opportunity, sort of bounce retrace before we go up there. If we have that continued move to the downside, what we've seen in the last, since January, I would say actually since middle end of March with the tariff ping pong back and forth, then with the war stuff back and forth, and then with the potential ceasefire, and then the FOMC and the Fed, we've been gotten very, very explosive news that's seen price absolutely rocket. And then we've seen a flip-flop of something that completely shatters that illusion. It's almost as if they're trying to keep the market from running away until they're ready. So note that. And realize that we are in for a hell of the rest of the summer. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. I hope you have an absolutely wonderful day. It is Thursday, June 26th. Remember, for those of you that want to get involved on the dog train, dog is getting listed on Kraken tomorrow, right here. Boom, it's from the Kraken exchange themselves, and they're posting about it. We're also seeing a number of other posts about it from OKX and from Binance Africa and another. I mean, I think that this might start a chain because there's so much engagement, free engagement. Nobody in the dog ecosystem is getting paid. There's so much free engagement that it drives an incredible marketing opportunity for these exchanges, which is why dog did not pay to get listed on Kraken like every other coin has. That's a monumental shift. And seeing the amount of engagement they're getting, I do think that and it shows that they're about the community that was wanting this rather than all those other trash meme coins. We might start seeing a race for other exchanges to stack. So stay tuned, stay vigilant, stay stacking. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Heading over to Blockchain Basement. That's all we got. Adios, everybody.